Welcome to Bunch Formation After Dark. I'm Chris Vannini. He is David Ubben. Miami is going to the national championship, folks. Wild game. Miami wins 31-27. I am currently in a hotel room in Chicago for something I have to do tomorrow. David's in a hotel room in Atlanta for the Peach Bowl, but we both wanted to be here. We wanted to be on live. Welcome to everybody who is getting on. If you're on the YouTube channel or Twitter, please leave comments, questions. We'll get to them. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Like the video. We're just going to get into this game. We're going to talk about Damon Williams at the end. But David, the Miami Hurricane, Carson Beck's arm and legs are taking them to the national championship. First reaction.
If you had told me this happened in September, I would have said, sure. If you had told me this happened in November, I would have been very skeptical. This is the Miami team that I think we saw early in the season that looked like they could beat anybody. And they've gotten hot late. We're at 7 in a row now. And a lot of that is built around Carson Beck not turning the ball over, getting a healthy Mark Fletcher. And the defensive line didn't dominate this game. They didn't control this game. And Miami won anyway. And I think that's a huge step for a team that can win games in very different ways. This game was obviously very different than the playoff games as they've played to this point.
We got Joack R95 says it's 5:30 a.m. in Norway. What a game. I'm glad you stayed up and got a good game. If you had stayed up and got a bad game or something, that would have been difficult. But, I remember early in the season, you and I got on this podcast and Miami beat Notre Dame. And we said, Miami can win the national championship. They might be the most complete team in the country, but do we trust them not to mess it up? And we also said
they tried.
We also said they didn't really put the ball in Carson Beck's hand at the end of that Notre Dame game. And we said, why are you paying $4 million for him if you're not going to use him? Well, in this game, the old Miami came back, penalties, 4 dropped interceptions.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the game, they had time. Like, we run the ball, you've got time. Instead, it was Carson Beck's arm all the way down the field. 2 really big third down completions, and he runs it in for the winning touchdown. This is just, it's unbelievable. Because we knew this Miami team could do it. But the Miami we saw for much of this game was the Miami we saw in the middle of the season, the one that lost to Louisville, the one that lost to SMU.
Yeah.
The penalty, the amount of dropped interceptions was mind-boggling. I'm like yelling.
And it wasn't just like you need them to make a play. It was like you and I could catch these interceptions. There's tipped balls, there's balls thrown right at you. It was very odd that they didn't come away with any of those. Was there any turnovers in this game?
Yeah, there was a Carson Beck tipped interception.
Yeah, that's right. The tipped ball toward the end of the first half, but that's
about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the way this game goes, first half, early on, Carson Beck misses Tony Deep twice. Malachi Tony Deep. We're like, oh boy, Carson Beck's throwing ducks again. They get a field goal, and it's 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. Ole Miss has -1 yards at this point. And you're like, this doesn't even feel like it's much of a game. How it should be more. And then Lacey breaks off a 73-yard touchdown run to give Ole Miss the lead. He gets injured on the play. He hamstring injury. He didn't take another carry until the fourth quarter, I believe. He ended up being a huge play. In the Miami 15-play touchdown drive, Beck to Marion 52 yards. They're up 17-10, and you're like, all right, this game's not as close as this game's closer than it should be, but it felt like Miami was the better team. They're running the ball. They're dominating. Late in the first half, Ole Miss has 15 total plays they've run on offense. Like, they haven't had a chance. And then late in the first half, they decide to throw the ball. Carson Beck gets sacked. It messes up all the timeouts and everything. Ole Miss gets the ball back. Miami drops an interception. Ole Miss gets a field goal to make it 17-13 at halftime. Third quarter, Miami has a flea flicker that turns into a grounding. They drop 2 interceptions. Ole Miss doinks a field goal. You have the Beck interception. Miami drops another deep interception. Leads to a Ole Miss doink field goal in to make it 17-16. So at this point, it's a 1-point game. And Ole Miss has 6 points directly off of Miami dropping those interceptions. And then the fourth quarter was just insane. Trinidad Chambliss steps up, completes a third down, taking a big hit. They get the field goal. They take the lead. A Tony tunnel screen breaks off. Miami takes the lead back. Ole Miss scores late, and then we get at the end of the drive, the final like 3 or 4 minutes, Miami drives. And Beck runs it in. This game, like you said, it didn't play out in necessarily the way we thought. It wasn't Miami's defensive line dominating like we thought. And I think that was part of Ole Miss's game plan, getting the ball out pretty quickly. There was a stretch where they threw the ball like 20 straight times, I think, because of Lacey's injury. But what do you think of the way the game played out?
Well, we talked about it going in, that Ole Miss was going to have to find ways to neutralize the pass rush, and they did that. And I think it's a credit to Ole Miss in some ways that they didn't play great in this game. They got outplayed, and yet they're leading, late in the fourth quarter. They had a bunch of those third downs where you're going to ask a kicker to make a big kick just to tie the game. There's a ton of pressure on that kick. So they're right there. And then, obviously Chambliss kind of leads them back, and they have that one last play there at the end. So, I mean, it's going to be a heartbreaker for Ole Miss because they didn't play well, and yet they were still. I mean, I wouldn't even say they were right there. I mean, you're winning the game. So
they're one play. They're 1 30-yard completion from winning the game.
And so it's a tough one, and Ole Miss. I think they can get back to the playoff, obviously, but you're starting a new era of the program, and there's no guarantee that you're going to get back to the semifinals anytime soon, and so this is going to be a heartbreaker for their program. And Chris, it should be noted, the SEC is eliminated. 3 straight years for the first time since 2001. The SEC won't be playing for a championship. The Big Ten, I think we can safely say, will be more than likely favored to win their 3rd consecutive national championship. So a lot of narratives outside of the game that are super interesting to me. And the fact that the SEC is eliminated and the last team standing was like the 4th place team or 3rd place team in Ole Miss. And they're eliminated by a team that didn't qualify for the ACC championship.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Am I coming through okay? My mic disconnected there for a second.
Yeah,
folks,
you're okay.
If you're in the video now, thanks for watching. Leave comments, questions. We'll get into them. If please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching there. Please subscribe to Bunch Formation, the podcast. This audio will be up in the feeds on Friday morning. David and I are live tonight. I will be live on my own tomorrow because David's going to be at the game and not able to join. But a lot of comments here of people saying the SEC not being in there. 1999 to 2002 was the last stretch of 3 straight no SEC teams. And you're really seeing a flattening of the sport here. And Miami, we knew they had talent, but Miami's also not bringing in like top 5 recruiting classes necessarily. They are finding the right guys and developing the right guys behind them, like Malachi Toney, who I don't think has had a drop still all season, unless you count that toe thing at the end. But
that would be a drop.
You look at the stats of this game, and you have no idea how this game was close. I mean, Miami goes 11 for 19 on 3rd down. Ole Miss goes 2 for 10. Also, Ole Miss, Miami 2 for 2 on 4th down. So it's really 13 for 19. Really.
That's the recipe to win like 17 points.
Yeah. They ran the ball, not great, but time of possession, 41 minutes to 18 minutes for Ole Miss. It really was just giving up a long touchdown or on a 73-yard run, dropping 2 interceptions that led to field goals. That's 13 points right there out of 27. Yeah. And man, let's go back to that last drive. They come out passing. And the first one's a deep ball, misses them. There's a face mask. There was another one up there that Carson Beck was not hitting these guys deep, but they were still going for it.
I didn't like that they got away from the running game there. There's plenty of time. I think they had the ball with 4 minutes, 2 timeouts. Just run your offense. And I don't think Fletcher, until they got inside the 10, I don't know that he got a touch. I think they gave it to him on that 3rd and 2. I think they had a short 3rd and 2 there late. So, not a play calling exhibition, but ultimately they made the plays. They put themselves in some bad positions. Those 2 3rd and longs where you need Carson Beck to make a big play. He gets that close throw to CJ Daniels, and I think Marion caught the second one. They get the fortunate PI down the left side of the field to kind of avoid getting in a bad situation, but they were not in some good spots there on that final drive. You need people to make plays. In that situation where you have the clock working for you, you have timeouts. You want to get ahead of the sticks and not put yourself in situations where you need low percentage plays, but they made them. So credit to Miami. They made the plays to win the game.
As much as people are going to want to criticize Shannon Dawson for various things, look, it worked. Two drives in the fourth quarter, they put it on Carson Beck's arm, and it won it. And there was a stat, I think Fowler said it during the game. It was until like 3 or 4 minutes left, I think, that Beck had not completed a pass beyond the line of scrimmage in the second half.
Probably. Before, I think it was early in the fourth quarter, they flashed the graphic. It was like 1 of 6 for 10 yards. So, yeah.
But the overall numbers, 23 for 37, 268, 7.2 yards per throw, 2 touchdowns and a pick. That yards per throw is inflated because of a couple of the deep balls, especially the 50-yarder to Marion. But again, Carson Beck was very efficient and took care of the ball. It's what he's done for the last 7 games now. I think he has 20 touchdowns and 2 picks now since that SMU game and in the playoff. And his legs in the Ohio State game were huge. Picked up a couple of first downs, and there were a couple plays in this game. They turned 3rd and long into 4th and short, and then they picked up the 4th down with usually a run. So you got to all the credit in the world to Carson Beck here, man. He really stepped up when it mattered most.
I think though the reason why Miami won this game, you mentioned that time of possession stat. The reason why that happened is because of the offensive line. The offensive line got a ton of push consistently in the first half. Miami controlled this game for most of the game. It got a little bit away from them there in the fourth quarter. But those numbers look the way they do because the offensive line was able to control this, create a lot of space for Mark Fletcher. I mean, he finished with probably 130, 120, something like that. 22
carries, 133 yards, 6 yards per carry.
I was gonna say he didn't have a home run, in the way that Lacey did. So, they were just consistently getting, he's not getting touched till he's 3-4 yards downfield. So for me, listen, Carson Beck's going to get plenty of love for the way that he played down the stretch in those last 2 drives, and he should. But I think the reason why they won this game was because of the offensive line. He's not having to do a ton of escaping on those last drives. They protected really well. Gave up a bunch of sacks, 4 probably on the day for them,
which is a lot. I don't think Miami had given up that many all year. They did get to him a couple of times, and it blew up a couple drives.
But they ran the ball consistently well. They protected on those last couple drives and allowed them to make those plays. So credit to that offensive line, that offensive front. Carson Beck made a ton of plays late, but I think the reason why Miami is going to the national championship, like we said, I mean, if you'd have told me this in week 1, I would have said yes. Their line play, the defensive line didn't have a huge night, and as we've mentioned, but the offensive line and that really kind of carried the day for them today.
I thought Ole Miss, I thought they had a pretty good game plan. Yeah, and I thought the coaching was pretty good. I thought the execution, it really was just you just defensively couldn't get the third down.
Yeah, they struggled to get stops on, obviously they couldn't get off the field on 3rd downs, but a lot of that is because it's 3rd and shorts.
Yeah,
and they were allowing Miami to get a lot of push up front. And when you do that, when it's 3rd and 3 and the back, you can't get a hand on the back until he's 4 yards downfield. Well, do the math.
The Ole Miss offense did a good job. They got the ball out quickly a lot, and that negated the Miami pass rush, and they really found something on that tight end sail route, when they'd go levels on the sideline. Miami could not cover that. It was not
no. Yeah, they struggled all night to cover that, and you saw them hit that on the touchdown there late. Ultimately, it's Daquan Wright, 3 catches, 64 yards for a touchdown. I think all 3 of those, I think maybe 1 was a check down, but they hit that route at least twice, maybe 3 times.
Yeah, apologies. My mic keeps going out for some reason with the cord. So Josh Mustachio. No, I'm sorry, that's not the one. How bad does good old Greg telling everyone the SEC should have 7 teams make the playoff this year. They can't even beat any non-Power 4 SEC teams. Like, look, it's true. Like the SEC, we know, is not what it was. And after an offseason of complaining that Alabama didn't get in the field last year, so the CFP decided to change its metrics and not tell us what exactly they did to change it, other than to just tell us that we got Alabama in the field and Miami in the field instead of Notre Dame. I had Alabama out. I had Notre Dame in. Bama won a game, but it was against an SEC team. The SEC's postseason record, I don't know the exact number. It's terrible. Like with the only wins being over Tulane
themselves and Tulane.
Or themselves.
I think they're finishing 3-9, 3-8, something like that.
And like the bowl game,
and then obviously not playing for a championship. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the bowl game's kind of iffy because guys opt out. It's not exactly a fair fight there. But like, and I was thinking about this too, looking at the portal and the way things are going, and the way that like a lot of the big schools are not doing much in the portal. It's like we're just continuing to see this in college football now, and the where the talent is going, how teams are developed. Like we knew what Miami wanted to do with this team, and they paid up to fix the defensive line. They hired Corey Heatherman, the defense coordinator, came from Minnesota. They had to fix the defense off of last year's team. They did. And now they're playing for a national championship.
On the SEC point, Chris, it's notable too. For most of the SEC's run, why were they winning? Line play. They beat the heck out of teams in the trenches. And you look at what they did in the postseason this year. We'll just work backwards. Ole Miss got beat up in the line up front today. They lost this game at the line of scrimmage. Alabama, I mean, that was NC-17 up front. That Alabama has not been
against Indiana in the Rose Bowl.
Yes, has not been beaten like that in a long time. Georgia, the team that in theory has the best play up front, the highest rated players, that was probably a stalemate, wouldn't you say, between them and Ole Miss up front? It was pretty even, I thought. And then the rest of these games, you have the Tulane game, and then you have SEC on SEC games. So it's interesting that the SEC obviously falling off, and it's not because they're losing heartbreakers or something weird is happening. They're getting beat up front. They're getting pushed around, and that is pretty unbelievable to sit and watch. And I think it's we mentioned this with Alabama. It's not that it's unbelievable to sit and watch, but it's unbelievable that it's just predictable. If you'd asked me who's going to win this game up front, I would have said Miami's better on both lines by a pretty wide margin. The defensive line didn't have a great game tonight, but the offensive line was way better than Ole Miss up front tonight.
Yep. Andrew T23 says if Carnero doesn't miss that kick earlier, he would have had a chance at a game winner.
Well, that's like a 51-yarder, and he made a 57-yarder. So it's like,
and also Miami missed a kick too, so that they kind of evened out on that front. The last play had a couple people say, like, do you think that should have been flagged?
I mean, you got to kill a man on a Hail Mary. I'm trying to think. Have you ever seen PI called on Hail Mary, Chris? I don't remember ever seeing it.
I mean, I couldn't tell you the exact time, but I have seen it.
I'm sure it's happened before, but I don't remember it. And I've seen my fair share of Hail Marys. I mean, you got to do something pretty.
Yeah, but man, like heck of a job by Ole Miss to get into range there, to like two completions,
really good job.
Yards, and Miami was just leaving the middle of the field open, and they were taking that. Reminder, if you're watching live, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're not, like the video, helps us there. If you're on Twitter or anything, please follow Bunch Formation wherever you do podcasts or on YouTube. We're going live tonight. It's been a fun season. We only got 2 FBS games left. Going through the stats here. By the way, the other thing, Ole Miss keeping this game close despite doing nothing on third down, barely controlling the ball, and playing like half the game without Lacey from the hamstring injury. Like, that was a heck of an effort from Ole Miss to keep this game close. All the talk about Lane and everything, and it really felt like they played their butts off in this playoff.
Yeah.
They did it against Georgia. They did it against the Knights. You come up just short. I mean, you've got Miami in 3rd and long twice on that last drive. Like, that's a heck of an effort from them. You know, Lacey's coming back next year. We don't know about Trinidad Chambliss if he'll get another year, but if he does, he's coming back to Ole Miss. So, like, it could be in a pretty good position, I think, Ole Miss moving forward. Obviously, you got to see how the portal works out, how many guys you lose to LSU and whatnot, but
yeah, I think this team is going to be remembered pretty fondly. You know, obviously they didn't get all the way there. Shout out to Lane Kiffin. He'll have to settle for $500,000 instead of $750K.
By the way,
if they had won tonight.
Did you see before the game? One of the Barstool guys FaceTimed with Lane Kiffin while they were like driving to the game or something like that, and it seemed like Kiffin later didn't know he was on camera, but he said he feels like a proud father watching this team, and I'm like, what? You mean the father, the family you left behind to go start a new family? And
it's like Will, what? Maybe the father, maybe Will's dad on Fresh Prince, Lou, maybe.
Pete Golding's the father who stepped up.
Pete Golding's Uncle Phil out here, man. You know, yeah. I think ultimately, I still feel bad for the players that they had to have this kind of weird, conflicted situation. But I think these guys that did strap up those helmets and those pads tonight in this situation are going to be remembered as legends in Ole Miss history, because yes, they lost, but they went down fighting and you know, acquitted themselves pretty well. So shout out to the Ole Miss players, man. What a run for them. Really fun year. You avenge your only loss to Georgia. You win the Sugar Bowl in pretty dramatic fashion as well. And man, they were right there. They were right there tonight. And that Lacey run in the first half was big because it felt like the game was kind of teetering. And it was like Miami, if they score a touchdown here and get a stop, like, you know, this could get to where you're really playing from behind. But that Lacey run, I felt like kind of flipped the game and was like, okay, like this is gonna be a ball game.
And then Miami's doing the penalties. Miami finished with 10 penalties, 74 yards. What'd you think of the targeting in the fourth quarter on Xavier?
I don't know what targeting is. Is anybody? I mean, that when the one that they picked up in the first half, I guess I thought that was targeting, and then the one that Lucas got kicked out for, I didn't think was target. I mean, I don't know, man. When they got the rules guy on there and they show the replay, it's like, oh, this is a.
He was wrong. I think he was wrong both times.
Yeah, he was like, this is an open and shut case. This is clearly targeting, and then they pick it up and he's like, well, I don't know. It's like nobody knows. I don't know what targeting is. Like, well, we need to look for the indicators, and then there's no indicators. It's like the targeting's been upheld. Like I don't know, man. Like I couldn't tell you. I've stopped even trying to guess what's targeting and what's not targeting because it's officiated so inconsistently.
It's like look, the point of targeting was to get rid of the head hunting, and that has happened. Like that is good. But like, to me, it's like it's a lot of these are just like bang bang football plays. That was a third down. Like you got to try to bang the ball loose because it's the fourth quarter of the freaking semifinal. He's not going at his head. The guy's spinning as he's falling down.
I mean, this goes back to what a lot of people want, Chris, where it's like the yellow card, red card situation. Like there's a lot of targeting plays
that has been proposed by the coaches to have two levels of targeting. And the reason they don't do it, I've talked to officials and all kinds of people about why they don't do that. They don't want to pull back on targeting because they don't want anything to open up if they ever get sued over head injuries. They have this hard. Look, at least they finally took away the perp walk. Remember that? You get ejected and you weren't even allowed to stay on the bench. What was that about? They'd have to walk off the field with everybody watching you. Like that was bizarre. They finally changed that after a few years. Yeah. But the reason is like, look, if they ever get sued like the NFL over things, like they don't want it to ever be seen as like, oh, look, they lessened, the penalties for targeting. Even though I would say on the whole, the goal of adding targeting was successful. You look at hits in the mid 2000s and it's like, God, man, it's like uncomfortable to watch some of those now. Like you don't have that anymore. So like,
yeah.
It has worked, and I would love to see two levels of it. But some of these other Miami penalties, there was the late hit right after the targeting penalty that was bad. had a couple of false starts in there. They had the PI when I think on the drive when Ole Miss took the lead, there was a pass interference on 3rd down, which live I didn't really think so, but then I replay, I was like, oh boy, questionable Miami pass interference penalty late in the Fiesta Bowl. Who's seen this before? But then I replay, it looked like it was a pretty good call, and then like a play or two later, Ole Miss is in the end zone and has the lead. But so Miami now playing at home for the national championship. How much of a
literally in their home stadium? Well, so we need to hit on this, Chris, because I've looked back at this. So
well, here's the thing. By the way, like
Go ahead.
when Miami was winning national championships in the 80s, they were usually doing it at home in the Orange Bowl. It was Nebraska or Oklahoma who would come in to play them. And in hindsight, that was kind of really unfair, but Miami didn't win all this necessarily. But this is kind of what Miami does when they win national championships. They do it at home.
I went and looked this up, Chris. In the BCS and the CFP era, there have been 2 teams that played a national championship that was basically in their backyard / home game. Nothing like this where they're playing in their actual home stadium. Do you know what those 2 are?
They're both LSU, right?
No, those were semis.
No. Wait. You said in the playoff era?
Yeah, playoff and the BCS era.
Well, because Ole Miss, LSU 2003 when they beat Oklahoma, that was a Sugar Bowl.
You might be right about that.
I count that one. And then when Joe Burrow and them won.
Yes, that's correct. So 3 times.
What about 2019 LSU? Was that the Sugar Bowl? Was that New Orleans?
Let me check.
That would have been the playoffs. It wouldn't have been the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah. So I guess it's been 4 times.
I got 2, just not the 2 you were talking about. What are the 2 you're talking about?
The other 2 are the Vince Young Rose Bowl. Yes, you're right. 2019 was in the Superdome, so that's an hour away from campus. The Rose Bowl that Vince Young won, that was over USC, and then second 26 was in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, Georgia,
Alabama.
They both lost. Oh, another one here from Josh. 2007 LSU also beat Ohio State in the championship in the Sugar Bowl. So you were off 5. By a lot because you just ignored.
I mean, we were trying to do a show. We were doing quick research because I was curious. But either way, this is going to be cool. Like Miami, you already kind of felt
all of those. By the way,
20 guys on the sideline tonight. So
all of those previous ones, not their literal home stadium. That's why this is different.
Wow, we didn't get a lot of Michael Irvin tonight. Where was our guy?
No, we didn't. I saw him like late in the game. Like all the pregame attention was on Ray Lewis and Edgerrin James, I think, were the captains.
Ray Lewis, how do you not have a much more problematic Miami figure?
How do you not have a Michael Irvin cam on? I don't know. What is he going to?
What is the most entertaining side plot of this playoff? I will say, I really just can't wait to see that scene. I'm. Like, how many sideline passes can you legally give out? Because Miami's gonna be like pushing for that record. I have to think.
I have the CFP book. It might have the answer to that. I'm not sure, but that's going to be an insane scene. And look, at least Miami, they have the gigantic sidelines at that stadium. Mm-hmm. I've actually never covered a game at that stadium. I will be there at the national.
I've covered 3 games at that stadium. It's not great. It's not a good stadium. But
even post renovation.
Well, the issue is it's just not anywhere close to anything.
That's what I've heard.
And it just kind of sucks. It's fine. I mean, like the actual.
I heard it was a disaster. Heard it was a disaster for the Club World Cup. Was a disaster, and it's going to have World Cup stuff there next year. So that sounds like that won't go well. Anything else on this game? How nice was it just to have a great game, man, by the way, too?
Yeah. I mean, it was compelling for 60 minutes. There was never a point
I
where
was
you're
stressed out. I felt so they just kept showing nonstop shots of the fans on both sides, and everybody looks like they just want to die.
Yeah, this was a great football game, man. This was the playoff at its best. And I will say that there are many things that I like about the 12-team playoff. I think the biggest thing is it has enhanced the regular season. But I think we're going to get better semis in general in the 12-team playoff era because you have to win your way here.
Yeah, we have. I mean, we've had 3 12-team semifinals. Penn State, Notre Dame came down to the very end. Texas, Ohio State came down to the very end. This one came down to the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a great point. And there was a comment in here when talking about the SEC. Josh said it. Said NIL portal killed the SEC, but you look at the SEC from 06 to 13, the BCS helped one game championship and they made it every year. Then from 14 to 22, they never missed a 14 playoff. So like having to
that's
earn
true,
your
but
way-
I also think just like the rosters were different. I mean, that
no, it is. But
let's
like,
not revisionist history. Like the SEC, the dominance that they had was very real and very validated. But in the new era, like, I mean, Chris, what is the case against the SEC just being another league in the NIL era? Is
the
it just
case
recruiting rankings and draft? Which even the draft
it would
stuff
be
is looking a
it'll
little
be
shaky
draft.
for
It'll be
this year.
draft stuff. Like because when we get to the draft now, 70% of guys are from the Big Ten and the SEC, and you'll still see that the SEC top to bottom, I think, is really, really good. It's just not as good at the top, and the top is really the only way anybody actually judges your conference. That was always the problem with these other leagues. Also,
well,
by the way,
Chris, so
yeah.
I'm looking at Dane Brugler's top 50. How many of the top 15 do you think played a snap of SEC football this season?
7.
3.
No,
Jermod McCoy, Tennessee cornerback in there. He didn't play this year. But you have Ty Simpson sitting there at number 2. Yeah, I know. Sitting there at number 2. Keldrick Falk, the edge rusher at Auburn, sitting there at number 4. And then you have McCoy's at 9. He didn't play this year, coming off of the torn ACL. And then you have Lenore Sellers at 15. And that's your 3.
Well, and Sellers is coming back.
Yeah. So there you go. That's 3 of your top 15 prospects that are draft eligible.
Is that Dane's top 50 from November?
Yes, I believe.
Because I've looked this up and because it's a little outdated, but I've tried to look that up too as well. But look,
18.
Maybe.
They got Caden Proctor. Mansour Delane is 19.
Here's the funny.
It's not the dominance in the way that we've seen in the past.
Here's a fun stat. Miami might win a national championship before it wins an ACC championship.
I did think about. I literally almost tweeted that. I was like, it'd be very funny if they won a national title before winning a big or a ACC championship.
There's your death of conference championships right there.
I mean, listen, I've been beating this drum for like over a year now. Nobody cares. They don't matter anymore. I'm sorry.
Can you imagine, by the way, like if Miami didn't make this playoff?
Yeah, I can imagine that.
like imagine
Notre Dame would have made it, and I think Notre Dame.
I think Notre Dame could have made a run, but like a lot of times when the committee makes these close calls, they're usually vindicated. And I'm not someone who believes you judge a decision after the fact, because you can't do that. You have to do it based on what you had in the time. But
Ohio State in 2014 validated themselves.
Ohio State in 2014, they win the national championship. Alabama over Florida State, and Alabama takes Michigan to overtime.
And Florida State, we don't have to talk about it.
But like, they don't put in Alabama last year, and a full strength Alabama loses the bowl game to Michigan. And now you put this Miami team as the last team in, and they're playing for the national championship. So like, I mean, as much as we like to complain, I don't think
I do like to complain, Chris. We know that.
And we still both believe Florida State should have made it because they were undefeated. I still think that is the wrongest thing that was made. But like, and again, with the Notre Dame thing, it was like, if they had just flipped Notre Dame and Miami earlier, it wouldn't have been a controversy. It's literally only a problem because they did it at the very end. Everybody knew Miami should be ahead of Notre Dame. They did it in the worst way possible, but they still did it. Other things here. Malachi Tony, by the way, what a game for him. This dude is like, is he still like 17? I don't even know.
Malachi Tony is who people think Ryan Williams is, basically.
He should be in high school this year. He left school early. 5 catches, 81 yards with a touchdown on the tunnel screen. Some big time blocks. That dude plays hard. You gotta love that dude. They really got something with him. Keelan Marion, receiver, great game for
really
him.
big.
He made a lot of big catches.
Drew a couple PIs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. There was that. Yeah, Miami only 1 sack, only 1 TFL. But again, I think that's mostly because Ole Miss was getting the ball out quick, or
Mhm.
Trinidad Chambliss was able to.
He's hard to catch.
Break
Good player.
contain. But
I was talking to some people about this today around here. It's kind of wild to me. A couple things. One,
here's a good point, by the way. Josh's Bama getting in over Florida State is the SEC's curse. Maybe.
No, I think NIL money is the SEC's new curse. So, like, I'm really curious the Trinidad Chambliss piece. So, I don't watch a lot of high school tape of guys. I mean, really any high school tape of guys. So, high school evals, I don't really know. Portal, I do watch a lot of the G5. Like, when guys go in the portal, I know, like, who I like and who, I kind of have a good feel for that because I've watched them. Don't watch a lot of D2 ball. But if you are scouting Trinidad Chambliss, like, what was the knock on him? How does he end up in D2? And then when he's coming out of D2, how does he end up basically at Temple before he signs on to be an Ole Miss backup? Like, he's big, he's athletic, his footwork is there, his form looks good, he's got good arm strength. Like, what is the knock on him?
So,
I don't know how.
By the way, for all the talk about him coming back another year, not like, would you not want it? Like, is he not a first round pick? Maybe. Like, what's his NFL? What's his NFL
really
grade
know.
look
I mean,
like? I don't know.
He's 23, so I wonder if that matters. Like, he's played a lot of football.
So
obviously, maybe I know maybe you'd want another year at this level. But yeah, I mean, I think if he doesn't get the waiver or whatever he's pursuing, the extra year, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for him.
Here's what I think.
Really bad for Ole Miss.
To answer your question, here's what I think part of it is. I'm pretty sure PFF doesn't do D2. Like, there are just not grades and stats and all that kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure it's only FBS and FCS. And so there's a big difference too between FCS and Division II play. Like, it, for a guy to come up from D2 and play that well is truly surprising. But they just, like, I forget the story. I don't know if they found his tape online or somebody saw him online and sent it to him, but like, it was a very, very last minute thing. So it's not like everybody missed on this. And again, he also wasn't the starter at the beginning of the year. It was Austin Simmons. So it was an unbelievable story. For Ferris State, shout out Big Rapids, Michigan. They won another D2 national championship this year without him. But I don't know, like, maybe you start looking at more D2 tape of quarterbacks and guys and see what you got there.
I mean line play, you kind of know, like, on the edge you probably don't have the speed, or on the outside probably don't have the speed, but quarterbacks, processing and accuracy, and then ski what you got with the arm strength. It's an interesting question.
So, all right, wrapping up this game, anything else you want to talk about with Miami? 31,
my Uber Eats order got here, Chris. I don't know if we want to take that during the show, but it's here. I think ultimately, just entertaining game. Miami has kind of validated what we kind of thought they were at the start of the season, where they looked like they were as good as anybody.
I distinctly remember. I distinctly remember us getting on here after the Notre Dame game and thinking, like, that team can win it all. And then you have Carson Beck throwing 4 interceptions against Louisville, 2 against SMU, including 1 in overtime. I covered that Miami SMU game. And the column I wrote out of that game was, you don't have to have watched a second of this game. You know how Miami lost this game. It was penalties, it was turnovers, it was bad game management. Like, that's what I wrote. And I've not seen a team as down after a loss as I was Miami there at SMU. Like, everybody looked like somebody died, quiet, could barely make out the words that people were saying. Like, it was truly shocking how that happened. And then
because I think at that point your season's pretty close to over. They need a lot of help to get in the playoff.
And after that, they had a players only meeting, and Mario Cristobal had a meeting with coaches about, we have to be positive with the guys, and it worked. And then they got to this game, and the old Miami popped out again. Just bad plays, dropping interceptions, doing the thing. This game shouldn't have been close. It's a credit to Ole Miss for hanging around, and taking advantage and almost winning. But Miami also almost gave this game away. But credit to them for getting through it. Mario Cristobal has taken a team to the national championship by winning 3 playoff games. He deserves a lot of credit for that. As much as we kind of
one of them on the road, by the way.
One of them on the road as well. By the way, what did you Uber Eats to your room?
some cheesecake from Landmark Diner.
All right. Good choice there.
Should I see if it's at the door? Should I take a break from the show? Should we?
Did it arrive? Did they deliver it already?
Let me check. I'll check. I mean, give me 10
go
seconds.
check. I'll keep talking here. Carson Beck, man, what a story! Like I'm watching ESPN in here. That third down completion to
We're
Marion.
in business, Chris. I didn't know if they were going to bring it to my door or at the front desk, but we're in business.
Let's see it.
All right, we'll unbox it live on the show.
Live on we're doing an unboxing video here live on the stream. For people who are watching and not listening to the audio. So wait,
my wife
place?
knows what kind of cheese. It's Landmark Diner. My wife knows what kind of cheesecake I would get. Chris, do you have any idea what I got here?
I don't even know. I haven't been to Atlanta very much, so I'm not familiar with the place.
Got some Oreo cheesecake.
Oh, I knew that's what you like. Yep.
There you go.
Looks good.
Looks pretty good.
Freezing a bit, but it's good. Okay. Before we wrap up this game, Indiana, Oregon, news came out during the game. Whittington, the running back, questionable, and Davison is out.
Yeah.
So both of those running backs had big games against Indiana the first time around. Both averaged over 5 yards per carry. So and we know the wide receivers are banged up. We both picked Indiana in the preview episode. Has anything changed for you on that front?
No, I mean, listen, you can say what you want about rematches. Indiana's been the most consistent team all year. They already went to Eugene, won that game pretty convincingly, and threw a pick six in that game. Now they get them on a neutral field. I think it was raining in that game too. Get them on a neutral field, indoors. Indiana should win this game. They should win it by 1 to 2 scores. And if they don't, it's going to be some turnovers. It's going to be Oregon playing out of their mind. Something's going to have to happen because Indiana's a better team and they're the healthier team.
How excited are you? I mean, like I said, all of the semifinals in the 12-team era have been close. You seem to think it may not be close?
I mean, I think it'll be it's not going to be like a complete domination. I think Indiana will prove over 60 minutes they're the better team. But I'm excited for it. I like covering games in that stadium in Atlanta. I've covered the SEC championship a bunch of times.
I hate that.
I was at. I mean, listen. In terms of soulless NFL stadiums, it's
I think we talked about it on the last episode or something like that too. I'm going to go Indiana. I think all of those mistakes and things that Miami did to keep Ole Miss in the game, Indiana doesn't do. That's what I kept thinking. Like the penalties.
Yeah. The one thing we haven't hit on, Chris, we need to talk about looking ahead to the championship game. Miami's got to get healthy. Dude.
Yeah, they did. They got banged up in this.
Mesidor out. Jacoby Thomas looked like he was not looking good. I mean, basically, most of their starting defense was not in a good shape at the end of that game.
Xavier Lucas is going to be suspended for the first half.
Yeah. So, that's not what you want against an Indiana team that wants to bludgeon you. So
or Oregon. Let's not pretend
or
Oregon this game yet. Like, good Lord. They were banged. They were dropping like flies. The defensive guys late.
Yeah.
Good news is
it's a physical game, man.
I mean, the game's the 19th, so you'll have
10 days
and a half, and you'll be at home, so you don't.
Well, the issue is you just don't know how serious any of those injuries are. It's hard to say.
Yeah, Mesidor, he got hurt in the Ohio State game, and they could try to give it a go in this game. Was down early, came back in a lot, kept going down. That's tough. So we'll see. That's a big one. But yeah, the defensive guys really have to get healthy. Also wanted. Before Damon Williams, anything else you want to talk about on this game or the championship?
No, enjoyed it. Excited for another one. Let's get to Damon as the world turns.
So Damon Williams Jr., the Washington quarterback, earlier this week, he announces he's entering the transfer portal. During the game tonight, he announced he is not actually entering the transfer portal. And in between, there was a lot of stuff that happened. When he announced he was going in the portal, I think on Monday, you may have thought to yourself, wait a minute. Didn't he just sign a deal to stay at Washington? You would be right. He had done that 4 days prior. And Washington sources had indicated to us, our colleague Bruce Feldman, that they were not going to let him out of that deal. And so it was like, all right, is this going to go to court? What's going to happen here? And then on Thursday, early Thursday, Damon Williams' agent, Doug Hendrickson, with Wasserman, announced he's no longer working with Damon Williams Jr. Pretty much just dropped him, which told you he did not agree with that. By the way, that is also the same agent for Jedd Fisch, the head coach. If you think that's a conflict of interest, welcome to the world of agenting in college football. And then later,
not a new thing, by the way. Just the fact that it's been in college. A lot of coaches, like experienced coaches, when players went to the NFL, like there's a lot of that cross pollination.
And then later Thursday, it's announced that Darren Heitner, noted NIL lawyer, was going to represent Damon Williams in presumably some sort of legal action. And then it was announced during the game he's staying at Washington. Washington put out a statement saying, we welcome him back. This is why it's important that everybody abides by these contracts and these rules. And there still remains questions whether or not these deals are legal. But essentially, according to the contract that Damon Williams has, all the Big Ten, pretty much they all use the same template contract. I've seen a few of them. In order to get out of his deal, he would have had to buy out the rest of the deal, which would have been about $4 million for a 1-year deal. And Washington, per the contract, is now obligated to put him in the transfer portal. Now, you might say, hey, that's against NCAA rules. You're correct. So, again, we don't know how enforceable these things are. But it was notable because you know who else tried to get out of a Big Ten NIL deal and went somewhere else? Xavier Lucas. Who got ejected tonight. He was signed with Wisconsin, I think a 2-year deal. Wisconsin wouldn't put him in the portal. He unenrolled at Wisconsin, enrolled at Miami, and is still there. And technically, he's not allowed to get paid NIL or any money from Miami. We don't know if he is. That would be breaking the Wisconsin contract, but he's already kind of breaking the Wisconsin contract. Wisconsin has sued over tampering and various things. I don't think Lucas himself is being sued. So, like, we don't know if these things are going to hold up or not, but this was going to be a big one if it was a legal challenge. I think it's ultimately good for Damon Williams, good for the sport that he's staying. I talked to a few agents tonight to see what they thought, and they're like, yeah, it's good that he stayed. If you,
I think Chris,
they're not sure if these contracts are truly that legally binding, but they also thought you can't sign something and then decide to leave. That's bad. Makes everybody look bad.
So it sounds like a lot of the post-signing shenanigans, like you said, happened outside of his agency. And
one more thing happened, by the way. So Cordell Landers, who's like a various advisor, who reportedly may or may not be involved in the
generous term, Chris, if we want to call it advisor. That's very generous.
Posted a text with Damon's dad about whether or not he's involved. Very messy. Sorry, go ahead.
So just to be clear, he's posting a text with Damon's dad arguing that he's not involved with Damon's negotiate. That's okay.
Yes. Considering the agent dropped,
I'm just trying to get my facts. You know.
Since the agent dropped him, it's pretty clear it wasn't the agent's decision to do that. To announce a transfer.
So I think what happened here, Chris, if I'm just reading tea leaves, and this is just me opinions, obviously a lot of this happened outside of the agency, didn't inform anybody, just posted on Instagram. I do have a question of why he was not at the memorial for the soccer player. Like, I think that's like
interesting. That's the other thing
on its own.
A women's soccer player who died, I think, in December of cancer.
Kidney cancer.
Yeah, and they were having a memorial for her at the. They were having a memorial for her, and his announcement. And a lot of the team was there. Jedd Fisch was there, and Damon's announcement drops during that. And that especially pissed off everybody at Washington. Jedd Fisch's wife called it out in an Instagram comment on a Barstool thing. Like everybody, and Damon apologized for that in his announcement that he was going to stay. But that was an extra bridge burned.
Yeah. So I think I don't know why he wasn't there. I think that's kind of odd in general. But he drops this that doesn't inform anybody. It feels to me that, you know, whether it's Landers, whether it's family, that somebody just decided these contracts aren't real. We're just going to try to move because we got more money from whoever you want to assume. It's been reported like LSU and Miami were in the mix. And I think they just learned in the last 36 hours, one, let's try to not do irreparable harm to our reputation, which you're close and maybe you can fix some of those things, but you got a lot of work to do to win back that locker room. But two, they probably figured out these things are a lot more enforceable than you thought. And maybe that comes hand in hand with hiring Darren Heitner and having him look at a lot of these documents and him saying like, we're probably going to owe whatever you think you're going to make more at this new thing. You're going to owe like, and this isn't even good. This isn't going to make financial sense for you. But I still think, Chris, this was so avoidable. Like, I don't know why you had to, if you're going to still test the market, I don't know why he felt the need to sign the new deal with Washington on like day 3 of the portal opening. It doesn't really make a lot of sense.
And if you have some players have shady agents, this is not that. This is a big time professional agent who knows what he's doing. And
most of the ugly NIL situations that we've seen have come with poor representation. The Jaden Rashada deal, his agent was like a 20-year-old SMU student. The Nico deal last year didn't have representation as far as we know. His dad was handling that. I think Cordell Landers was involved in that in some ways. Mm-hmm. These are people that don't have like a ton of experience with this versus like a Wasserman or like a CAA, all these sort of big agencies that deal with, sports, celebrities, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, we'll see what that process of him winning his teammates and fans back is.
I think he can do it. I mean, do you think I think time heals.
Look, when you have Bo Pribula coming to visit, it'll be healed pretty quickly when you realize that he can. Did I say it wrong again? Pribula. You'll take
Pribula's right.
Yep, I got it right. So once he starts playing and making plays and winning, people will get over it. But people are probably going to be very mad.
I mean, that's one of the things. Just like you got to be the model teammate for the next year, and I think he has been for most of his career. And I think just money complicates things. And
how much more money could it have? He was already he's getting.
It sounds like it was about $2 million. It sounds like it was going to be a crazy overpay.
Maybe like 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's an overpay, but like if you're LSU or Miami, I mean, that makes sense, I guess, if you've got the money. So, yeah.
If you have the money. So, all right. So, Damon Williams staying at Washington. We're going to wrap the show up where we were both at sports bars tonight, right? Your place was a sports bar too.
Mine was not technically a sports bar. I was at the Peach Bowl media party. Tremendous place. Your third spot. We had cornhole with electronic scoring. We had a Golden Tee machine, Super Nintendo, very strong venue in Atlanta. I'd never been there before. I guess it's pretty new. It's like, I don't know, 20. I'm not a square foot guy, but it's like a 20,000 square foot place. It was cool. Okay. And bowling. I'm not a bowling guy, but whatever.
So what we're trying to start to do is grading sports bars for their TV layouts. For the most part, that's the grade because David had a difficult couple of sports bars.
I've had a rough season of sports bars.
Early in the season, he had a couple of rough sports bar experiences. We posted a clip of it. It blew up on all the social medias where now sports bars are trying to announce that they are good with their televisions. So I was here in Chicago. There was a sports bar down the street before the game. I was like, let me pop in real quick, get a bite to eat and judge it. Gracie O'Malley's up in Wicker Park in Chicago. I walk in. All of the TVs are blue screens. It says error because it's storming.
That's not what you want.
And I'm like, that's not good. We can't.
No, that's satellite. That's out of their control. But okay.
But within 30 seconds, they were all working. Okay. They were all on the pregame for Miami, Ole Miss. So that was really well done. Okay. They were playing music over the pregame, so that wasn't great. But a lot of TVs, all in prominent positions. I believe this is a 49ers bar. It looked like they had a lot of 49ers stuff up there, and they advertise all the sports things they do. The food was the burger was a little bit undercooked, and I had to ask twice for my check. Although I tip 20%, tip your servers no matter what. But I'm gonna give it. We lean the grade heavily on the TVs. That's what it's about. It's about the TV allocation. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay,
so
that's good. That's solid. I wouldn't call your third spot in Atlanta a sports bar, and also it was
Mhm.
a literal Peach Bowl event. So they had like the projection screens, like two. So, it was well
Yeah.
done. I mean, it was solid.
Yeah.
But you should check it out. It's a good place. Shout out to Golden Tee.
Whenever I'm not in Atlanta, I'll look it up.
If anyone has a Golden Tee machine, I'd like to donate to Bunch Formation. This is one of I have many dreams in life. My dream of having a golf simulator in my house was ran into some financial concerns, and so I have downgraded that to having a Golden Tee machine in my house. But one day, Chris, one day.
This show has gone a lot longer. I thought we were going to do 30 minutes, but the Damon Williams thing made it more. We're not going to have remember some guys because it's after dark. But I do want to shout out Navy SID Scott Strassmeyer pitched his own. Remember some guys. Anthony Thompson, former Indiana running back in the late 80s, almost won the Heisman Trophy. This is the last time Indiana football was any good. Highlights of him are pretty great, Anthony Thompson. So I wanted to get that out before the Indiana game on Friday.
I don't remember that guy, but shout out to Anthony Thompson.
That's because you didn't watch Big Ten football. I will be live Friday night. I'll be back home, be all set. Again, please subscribe to the Bunch Formation YouTube channel or the podcast, wherever you listen to it. Please leave us a 5-star review. We decided to do each of these each night. I'll probably be by myself after dark tomorrow night. David will be at the game. Maybe can pop in. Probably not. But bring your questions, bring your concerns. Hopefully it'll be a good game. Indiana, Oregon. I'm looking forward to it. The Miami Hurricanes are going to play for the national championship, the last team in the field. They beat Ole Miss in Miami. They beat Ole Miss 31-27. I will be there with them in next week, a week from now, for the national championship. They'll play either Indiana or Oregon. I can't wait for the game tomorrow. I can't wait for the national championship. This has been an incredibly fun college football playoff, and I'm excited to see how it ends. David, any last comments?
You start your playoff journey on the road, you end it at home. How about that, Miami?
How about it? They didn't put Ohio State, Miami at the Orange Bowl because they didn't want it to be an unfair home field advantage. That's why they put it at the Cotton Bowl and sent Oregon, Texas Tech out there. Miami made it back anyway. So should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. That'll do it here for Bunch Formation. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. For David Ubben, I'm Chris Vannini, and I will talk to you on Friday night.
And I'll be bringing back the turnover chain in spirit.
The national championship game. Bring back the turnover chain.
Please.
See you.